Hey there, it's Susan with Colorful Expressions. Today we are on day 5, December 9th, journaling card and beloved visitor from 2024 Dephemerember, hosted by Louise Heinzel and Barbara of 49 Dragonflies. Now, the beloved visitor made me think, and I actually do have a picture of my family that I'm going to make into a card, but I don't have their permission to put their pictures on screen. So I am going to talk about visitors while I am in my room reading, etc. In other words, my fur babies. I have 3 cats and a dog. The cats are actually my late husband's animals. They loved him to death, and when he passed, they went through an adjustment just as I did. But I have cut out some trusty file folders again, and I've printed out pictures of my animals. Now, I just got a color laser printer. My inkjet gave up the ghost, of course, right when I needed to use it for journaling. So I spend a little bit of Christmas money on a very inexpensive printer, and so far it's done really well. So when I talk about visitors, here's Max. He's sitting on my lap. Here, he's also sitting in my lap. Buddy, the little Siamese, she's always nearby in my room. She doesn't really sit on my lap, but she's in the room constantly. She's also an older cat, so she's always asleep. She's either asleep or she has the zoomies. She gets the zoomies about 5 times a week and races around the house and runs into everybody. And Linus, he's always nearby. Right now, he's right behind my chair. The Siamese is his best friend and older sister, Lucy. And here Linus is crawling into my chair and wanting to take a nap with me. He is a 75-pound lap dog, and I don't know how he does it, but he crawls into my lap without killing my spleen. So I've got these pictures, and I'm going to make all of these into journaling cards. I found some lined paper online. This is in a PDF, and I simply Googled lined paper, free lined paper, and I printed this out on resume paper so it's not bright white. And this is college ruled. They also have wide ruled. I have a very small handwriting, so I like college ruled. And that's what I'm going to use for my cards. The first card I'm going to make is Mr. Max here. And I'm going to use some glue, so I'm going to put down my wax paper. And I also want to decorate around the edges, and rather than just the plain brown that is so popular, there's some blue in the pictures and there's some green. So I'm going to put green around the edges of Max because he's always sleeping on that green blanket. It looks good against his orange fur. I have some Liquitex muted green ink. I spilled this all over my mat one time, and I had some book pages nearby. So I just frantically picked up the book pages. I'm just going to use a couple drops because this is very strong. And I have a fan brush. This is a hog hair style fan brush, fake hog hair. And that will give us some texture. I'll take this paper out and move Max. We don't want to get him all dirty. So just a little bit. And this is a way to make an edging that isn't always the same rubbed on ink. And I kind of like the texture that the brush makes. Whoops. Come on, I need a little more water here. I was conservative with my ink and I need more. All right. And then on the inside, where we'll glue the card, do the same thing. The inside will be covered with the lined paper, but this will be peeking around the edges. You can have it different. You can make it as uniform as you want, or you can make it in different textures, different. You could use a sponge and make kind of a pebbly texture. I just chose to use the brush today. Let's get some strong ones in here. Here we go. Spread it out so that it dries quick. There we go. And since I'm going to use this again, I'm going to wipe it out real quick. So what this is going to be is a fold around. I'm going to put it in my journal like this, and it'll open up. And actually from the bottom up. And then I will put my journaling paper in here. Thank goodness I have scrap paper everywhere. Let this dry a second while I get the glue on here. And you might tell that my voice is a little different today. I have a cold. I had to wait until I got my voice enough to start this video. So it's coming out a little later than I would have wanted. All right. I left. It's the same top and bottom, so we're just going to glue it on. Let's see, right into the fold. There we go. Then we have some texture. I'm not going to ink around the edges. I'm just going to leave the texture as the ink. And then this way is up. Whoops. Let's make sure. I have a picture of Max sleeping. And a picture of Max. I'm going to just do it a little bit off center like this, and I'll trim the edges. I do have a little bit of green ink. I don't think it's going to show up against this dark background though. Not much. So we're just going to skip that step. All right, put Max across the bottom here. I'll trim off the overlap. Whoops. Let me get Max situated in here. My printer does a really good job at printing photographs. I was very pleasantly surprised. And I'm going to look into if they have laser printer photo paper. I have a bunch of inkjet photo paper, and I guess I could always just try to see if it'll work. All right, there we go. So here's Max's card. And then on the inside, this is going to be coming up from the bottom, and then you flip it to right. And I am going to put Max right at the bottom. I've fussy cut around him. I thought that was a nice touch. Max is about 10 years old. All of my cats are a little bit older. Max is 10, and Buddy is 15 years old, so she does sleep most of the day, and I expect to lose her sometime soon. She's in good health right now. She sleeps a lot, and her hair is all matted and gross, so I have to brush her out a lot, but she's doing well. So this is going to be going up from the bottom of your journal, and I'll decorate the back at some other time, and then you can flip it down. There we go. So that's Max. Now Max likes to, like he said, he was my husband's favorite cat, or my husband was his favorite person. When Max would go and sit on his lap and just be all over him. Now this one, I'm going to have a side, but I'm going to have the text flip up, so kind of a hidden journaling card. I cut everything out beforehand. Oh, glue's almost gone. I cut out everything beforehand to speed this up. And I was thinking about what I wanted to do with all of it. Oh, there's a watermark on this resume paper. That's cool. All right. And then this folds up. It's kind of a hidden journaling card. This will go over your page on the side. And Buddy, she's sleeping on 2 pillows like Princess and the Pea right here in this picture. She's a blue Siamese. Before we left the country, she just showed up one day. And just either someone had dumped her or she had gotten out of a neighbor's house. We never did find out if she belonged to anybody. And she was the friendliest cat, is the friendliest cat I've ever met. She's never met a stranger. On Halloween, she sits next to me and watches all the kids come in. She's a card. In this picture, this is a ball of yarn from a knitting project. And I put the yarn in front of her for scale when I was showing it off on Facebook, because the yarns were they're scrap yarns, and I'm making a giant blanket with like 5 strands of yarn at once. And so put her right there. Now this one, I've got some India red oxide, which will match the orange in the pillow. Well, actually, no, I have something better. That's right. I have some archival ink in Orange Blossom. I'm going to use a clean sponge so that I don't get it all the black. And I'm just going to go over the background and a little bit darker around the edges, as we do. Still have those pillows. This picture's several years old, but she still occasionally sleeps on those pillows. They're in my room. Dog sleeps on one, stays on the floor for him. All right. I really need to start working on my journal. I'm really excited now that I've made some ephemera to make my first junk journal. I'm starting to, at least mentally, gather what paper that I have and figure out what I'm going to do. I need to coffee dye. I have some tea dyed papers, but I don't like how fragile it makes the paper. I need to find some stronger paper. I may have to just buy a sketchbook that has a lighter paper because watercolor paper would be too heavy. And there we go. And here is Buddy's book. I may just glue the back onto a page, and I may find another picture or something or some paper. I'm going to decorate that later when I put it in the page. So here's Buddy's card. And this is a single card that I'm going to make with Linus and Lucy. Take the glue. So this is Linus on the couch with Lucy. Here he is in my lap. So those two are going to be on the cover. This one's going to be on the back. And I'm going to, since there's blue in both of these pictures, I'm going to use some paint and do the edges in blue. This one's a little too strong, so I also pulled up a paler blue. So I wanted it somewhere in between the two. This is just acrylic craft paint, very inexpensive. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, actually. The Deco Arts comes from, well, might be Joann's too, I don't remember. Unfortunately, I don't really keep track. I guess for going forward, I will keep track of where I get my stuff from so I can let everybody know what I'm using. Okay, a little bit more dark. All right, now we're going to do the same thing we did with the ink. And just kind of make a feathered edge. It's not spreading the way you want. Just add a wee bit of water, just a little bit of water at a time. Otherwise, it'll get too soupy. And this is opaque, so it'll dry. Nice and blue. All right, now we're going to do the back side for the journaling card. Just a little bit. Come on, I don't want to get more paint out. All right, there we go. There. I've always got a big jar of water off camera. All right. Let this dry a second. This is covered in glue, so get some clean edges. Let's see, I had another piece of paper here somewhere. Here it is. Let's pull out my full glue. After my husband died in September, my cats and my dog were a huge comfort. They actually hung around in my room because I was the only one home, and they were very confused. Now, Linus is my dog 100%, so he wasn't as affected, but Max was just didn't know what was going on. He was very unhappy. And now he's adopted me as his person. He comes in the room and he sits on my lap periodically. And so we are. The other two are okay. Lucy, the brown Siamese, she's not a people person. She's a dog person. She loves Linus, and she's always near him and sleeping on him, sleeping next to him. She likes me, and occasionally she wants scritches, but it only a little bit, you know. She'll come in, get her scritches, and then she'll wander off again. There we go. In the back, put my paper down. Whoops, got a spot on it. That's okay. Really get the corners and edges really well. I wanted to use my matte medium, but on my test card it just made such a soupy mess. Okay, which way is up? That way is up. See, this one has a bigger border on the back, on the top. So this is part of a file folder, and that was part of the file folder edge, and I just kept that curve in there. There we go. And then we've got a little picture of Linus sitting on the chair. We'll put that right there, cover up that spot. That wasn't where I originally wanted it, but hey, it'll work there just fine. There we go. Okay. So here we have 3 journaling cards. 3 different colors. I was looking at other people's work and watching all the Dephemerember shows, and one woman made really brightly colored cards and everything, and I'm like, that's what I want. You know, vintage looks great, but I'm a colorful person, hence the name Colorful Expressions in my YouTube channel. So I decided to get the color out myself and add color to my journal. So here we go. There's Linus. Here's Buddy, and that'll flip down. I have a really pretty picture of Buddy sitting up on the cat tree. I need to find it and print it out. That one will look really good inside. And here's Mr. Max, one of my favorites. Max is just a pistol. I think I'm going to glue this into the page here so that it just flips down. So there we have it. Beloved visitors who come and sit on my lap, comfort me, and keep me company now that the house is a little bit emptier. Now on on Tuesday, we've got altered pocket and texture fragments. So I know exactly what I'm going to use for texture fragments. I've talked about them before, and I'll show you how it works. So journaling card is finished. And that's it for the video today. And join me tomorrow on the 6th day of Dephemerember, December 10th. That is confusing, isn't it? Well, anyway, so I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.